What's going on, everyone? So if you're a React developer, you know that you have to use some sort of a state management library in your development. It could be Mobx or Redux. It could be something else. What if I told you that you could instead use the browser's built-in IndexedDB? Wouldn't that be cool? So you don't need to fumble around with any state management library. You can just use the browser built-in feature that's provided to you. And it's pretty much everywhere. So I'm going to show you guys how we can do that. Anyway, so instead of creating a to-do app that everyone does, how about we create a real-world project, say an e-commerce store, where we can add products to a shopping cart. So the idea is, as soon as the product is added or removed, we want to update the shopping cart in real time and show the total amount and all that. So let's see how we can do that. So we're going to install the dependencies for this. So the library we're going to be using is called Dexy.js. So let's go ahead and install it. So I'm going to increase the font size and clear this out. We're going to do npm install Dexy. All right, that's what you want. And you also want to install the hooks that come with it. That just makes your life a little bit easier. So we're going to do Dexy dash react, and that's going to be hooks. And we're going to do force. The reason why I'm doing force is because I'm using React 19. It just makes it easier that way. All right, so we're going to just zoom out of this. Okay, so what we need to do is, as you guys can see, it's a very clean project. There's nothing in it. It's a fresh project. So we can create the, I guess, products or whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to come over here in my app. And what I will do is I'll create a, let's say, I don't know, a file, and we're going to call it my cart. Cart.tsx, and we're going to do cart like that. So I'm going to save it, hit tab on it. Okay, so I'll close this one. I'm going to create another one, and it's going to be product.tsx. So this will be the individual product, and we're going to do the same thing, and it's going to be product like that. All right, we're going to save it, close it, and then we need to show a list of products, right? So we're going to create another one. We're going to do product list.tsx, and it's going to be product list like that. Okay, so that's pretty cool. Anyway, so once we have that, then the other thing we need is a db.ts. So this is where we can initialize the Dexy. So what we can do is we're going to do const. Let me close this one. We're going to do const, and it's going to be db is equal to, we're going to do Dexy. Okay, like that. Okay, and you want to just call it whatever you want. So for now, I'm just going to call it products. Okay, so this is my database. And then what I will do is I'm going to see, let me just actually do db. Okay, that's a little bit better. Then what you want to do is you're going to do db.version. It's going to be version 1, and then stores. All right. And then what does it store? Well, it's going to have a card, and you can store basically anything you want, but it's going to have an ID. So that's what we're doing, the plus plus. We're going to also store the name, the price, the quantity, and we're also going to store the product ID. Now, this product ID is, say, you're pulling this data from your database. So you guys will see when we're doing the updates, we can reference it by this ID and stuff like that. Anyway, so now I'm going to export the DB like that, so we can actually use it. So we're done with this. We're going to close it. And now what we can do is we can come over here, and maybe in the product, I should call product list, not product. Okay, so why don't we go ahead and actually just use it in the main, I guess, here, so we can actually start seeing things. So what I'll do is I'm going to come here and I will do, let's say, product list. Okay, and then the cart like that. So let me save it, and boom. So I want these to be side by side. So as you guys can see, when I'm adding stuff, it's actually getting displayed in the other one. So what we can do is we're going to do flex row, and boom, they're side by side. Okay, so now let's go ahead to product list, and why don't we go ahead and start adding some products. So I guess what I can do is, for this one, let's do create fake products. And for this one, let's just use AI. I don't want to type this. So let's see how we can do that. And if I come over here to my Copilot, we can open this, and we'll do it later. I'll say generate me a list of fake products. Okay, with these, let's say, props. Okay, so ID, it will be name, then price and description. Okay, let me fake products with these props for a, let's say, online, for an online shirt store. Okay, let's see if it can do that. So here is so there you go. Just quickly it can generate that for you. So I mean, I use AI for this kind of stuff. It just helps me quickly generate data. So I'm going to take this, and what I'll do is I'm going to just paste it here. And thank you very much. I'm going to close that. And what I'll do is I'm going to call it fake products. Okay, so we have ID, name, and then description all. So then I can actually just close this. It's complaining because we're not using it. We're going to use it. So what we need to do is we need to create a do it a single product. I'm going to do this so we can actually use it. So what we need to do is we need to pass it the ID, okay, ID, name, price, and description, right? We need to pass these to it, and then we need to just define what these are. So it's a number, name is a string, price is a number, and then description is also a number. So then I can do is I can come here and we can just create li, and then we can create basically h3. All right, and that will be the product name. Okay, like that. So why don't we go ahead and just display this so we can see if this is actually working. So I'll create a div like that, and then I'll just I'll come here and I'll do basically just put this on new line. We'll do fake products dot map. So we're gonna go through each product and we're gonna do product, okay? And then what I will do is basically I will do product. So that's the individual product. And then I need to pass in the ID, which is the product dot ID. How about we bring this here? And how about we close this? And then I'm going to duplicate this for the other one. Oh, that's too much. So I need the name and the name, the price, the description. Okay, and then for this one, I will do name. For this one, I will do price. And for this one, I will do description. All right, cool. So let's just do organize this. And why is it complaining? Because we need a key prop. So for key, what I will do is I'll do the product ID because that's unique. Okay, description is complaining because, it should be string. Cool. So let's save it and boom, quickly we have that. All right, so we can come over here and maybe just do some beautification. We're going to do list. Let's see, list none. And then what we also want to do is maybe a border, our border -2, and let's see, that's our border. And then how about padding dash, I don't know, 4. So that's that. Okay, so now we have this. So we need to go to the individual product, and what we can do is for this one, actually one thing I should have done if I go back, so maybe it should be a ul and boom. Okay, so now that we have that, so we should just come over here and give each one its own border -1. And how about padding -4 and stuff like that. Okay, so okay, cool. So we have a border now, and then what we can do is now I can use the other one. So for example, I can have the description, I can have the price, and finally we will need a button. Okay, so for this one, what I will do is I'm going to put the price. Okay, so that fixes that. And then for this one, what we need is a button that will be add to cart. All right, so like that. And then what I can do is, I don't know why my background is black. I think I should fix that first. So for that, let's go over to global.css. And as you can see, the background is that. So how about maybe we just make a little bit something like that. Okay, so now that I have that, and then what we can do is, let's come over here and I mean, I can do, for example, class name, font -bold. Okay, so now for the button, so what I can do is, let me just do a class name. It's going to be border, and then how about padding dash 2, and then bg dash black. Cool. So this our, actually I don't need this one. The border looks ugly. Okay, so now when I hit this button, I would like to add this to the card. Okay, so now we're going to add the function, and it's going to be, let's say, cons add to cart. Let me close this one. And what we will do is basically it will take the ID, it will be a number, and then for now, let's just console log this ID and see if this works. So I'm going to come over here and I will do on click, and we're gonna basically call add to cart, and what I'll do is I'll pass in the ID like that. Okay, so actually we don't even need to pass in the ID because we already have this individual product. But anyways, okay, so it's saying that event can pass to client component. Yes, so this will be a client component. So what we can do use client like that. Okay, I can save it. So let's go over to the inspect and see when I hit this, then we're gonna do this. Okay, so that's working. So now what we can do is we can come over here and then I can do await. So that means I need to make this async, and we can actually use the DB. So I can do DB dot, and as you can see, I don't see the card, right? So what we need to do is we need to get access to the card. So how can we do that? So I'm gonna save this. We're gonna go back to the DB, and what we need to do is a couple of things. So the first thing I'll do, I'll create an interface. I'm going to call it card. Okay, it's going to take a number, basically the same thing as here. And I'm going to have a name. Then I'm going to have a price. That's a number. I'm going to have a quantity. This is a number. And then I need the product ID. And this will be a number. Once you have that, then what you can do is you're going to do as Dexy, and then we can do cart. Okay, and you want to do the entity table. It will be of type cart. Okay, and then we're just going to do the primary like this. So I'm going to save this. Let's close it and let's see if we can now do this. So if I do db.cart, boom, there you go. So I can do add. So this is just like how any database you do. And then we can just punch in the parameters. So name will be name. All right. You don't need to do the ID because that will be auto generated for you. Remember we did the plus plus. So that's what it is. So price will be price, and then the quantity will be 1 since you're adding 1, and then the product ID, that's our, let's see, backend ID. This will be the ID passed in ID. So I'm going to hit save on this, and let's just do a refresh for good measures. So let's come over here to inspect, and if I go over to my, say, application, let's maximize this. So as you can see, this is the IndexedDB, right? And there's nothing here. So if I do add to cart, there you go, products DB. That's so cool. As you can see, cart, and this is my classic white shirt. So let's, how about we go strip polo. I'm going to do a refresh. Boom, strip polo is added quantity 1. How cool is that? Okay, so one thing we need to do is, since we're adding items, the problem is if I hit this against strip polo, as you can see, if I refresh, you can see it adds another one. I don't want that. I want this to update the this value for me. So what I'll do is, for now, I'm going to delete this, and what we can do is we can do something like this. So let's do this. Existing item is equal to, we're going to do db dot, we're going to do cart, we're going to do get. Okay, and then you want to get it by the product ID, and that will be the ID. Okay, so if existing item, if it is already in the database, then we want to add it, otherwise we do something else. So let me just copy this, cut it out. I'm going to paste this here. So what we're saying is, if the item already exists, then we just want to update it. So the way we're going to do this, we're going to do await, and then I can do db.cart dot, and then we're going to do update. Okay, and then what do you want to update? Well, you want to give it the existing item.id. Okay, and then we want to update the quantity, right? So the way we're going to do the quantities, we just do quantity, and we're going to do existing item dot quantity plus one. Just add one to it. So that's that. So let me save it. And if I come over to my inspect, and if I go to my application, let me expand this. All right, so as you can see, I have, let me just do a refresh. So I have this classic white shirt and strip polo shirt. So if I hit this again, this should, let's see, let's just do this. This quantity should go up. So I'm gonna do add to cart. If I do refresh, look at that, that's so cool. Let's add the plaid flannel, and then if I do refresh, there you go. Let's do it again. So I did 2 times, so there you go, that's 3. So this is working well. So now you guys will see the power of this, how we can now show this in the card. So if you guys have worked with context, you know, you have to like wrap things in the context and all that. Well, not with this one. So let's go over to card and see how we can use this here. So what you can do is use something called live query. So what I will do is I'm going to get a hold of the card item. So I'll do card items is equal to, we're going to use live query from Dexy, and then it will be basically db.cart. I think we need to bring in the db, so db.cart. Okay, and then we're going to do to array. Okay, so this basically return us all the cart items. And then what you want to do is, let me just come over here. And then the first thing, let's how about we do, let's say h2, and we're gonna do cart, and then how about we do the total items. So it will be cart items dot, and we can just do length. We're gonna do the other one. Okay, so of course, since we're using that, it has to be a use client. I'm gonna save it, and we have 3 items, which is correct. Give me another one. Boom, 4. If I go over to inspect, go to application, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 items. That is correct. Okay, so now that we have the count, what we can do is we can now start displaying the items. So how about we also display the total? So for that, whoop, got too excited there. So what I'll do is I'm going to create an h3, and then what I can do is I can display the total. So what I'll do, I'll say cart total, and then we're going to do this. And for this one, I'm just going to use a reducer. So the way we're going to do this, we're going to do cart items dot reduce. Okay, and then for this one, you know, you need the accumulator and the current value. All right, so let's go over like that. And then what we can do is we can say accumulator plus, it will be the current value dot price times, okay, current value dot quantity, right? So you just multiply and that'll give you that. Okay, so it is saying card items, the initial value, so that will be 0. Let's save it, and boom, you have that. And I think what we need to do is we need to do to fix to, boom, there you go. Okay, so this is our total, cart total. And then what I can do also is I can now display the list. So for this one, we'll create a div, and then I can go through the cart items, and then we can just map through it, item. Okay, and then what we can do, I'm going to create a div, and then we'll give it a key immediately. Okay, so this will be the item dot id. So make it happy. And I will do basically the same thing. So it will be item.name. Let's see if this works. Yes. So we have 4 items, classic white shirt, and da da da. And then what I'll do is I will also give it the price. So it will be item price. Okay, there you go. And then I don't know, maybe item dot quantity. How many we have? Cool, so we have, you know, 3 of these, 2 of these, and stuff like that. Now we should also add a button. Okay, and this will be remove, right? Remove. Okay, so of course we need to just beautify this. So we can do, let's say, bg-black and padding-4. And there you go. Okay, whatever, that's, you get the idea. So now what we can do is on click, we need to remove this from the remove from cart. Okay, I think what I'll do is I'm going to wrap this. Okay, and then remove from cart, and then I can pass in the ID. And then immediately I'm going to come here and I'm going to do remove from cart, and it will be the ID number, and then what we can do is await. So I need to make this await, need to make this, sorry, async await. What am I doing? And then I will do db dot cart dot, and then we can do we have remove or delete? Yeah, it's delete. And then you can just give it the ID, right? That'll be product ID, and let's save it. Okay, so let's say if I do a refresh, boom, data still here. If I do a remove, as you can see, everything gets updated. I had 3 items, now I have I don't know, I have 4 items, I have 3. So for this one, can we just do quantity and then price, so they're a little bit more visible? Okay, so, and I think I will also just give it a border and padding dash 4, something like that. You get the idea. Okay, so now let's remove this one, boom, remove this one, remove this one, boom. There's nothing in our cart. If I add this, we go 29. I add this. As you can see, it's just updating in real time. So as you can see, without using any library, state management library, and we were able to achieve kind of the same thing. As you can see, this looks clean. If you have to do like Redux, or if you work with that, you know what you have to do to achieve that. So I hope you guys like it and you guys will use this. I'm really liking this. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and bye.